Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Bobble Pod. On this episode, I'm excited to announce that I will be talking about my top digital trends for 2023. I didn't do this as my first episode of season 4 when we kicked off in January because I wanted to give a breakdown of the Truth About Dubai, which went down as a great podcast. Thank you for anyone who listened and liked and commented on that one. But for this episode, we're going to be talking about 7-8 key digital trends, well, digital marketing trends, some that you might be aware of, some that you might not be aware of, and explain how that will look out and plan out for 2023. But as always, don't forget to like, follow, subscribe if you're on YouTube. As always, hello YouTube. Don't forget to click on the click button, the bell button, and subscribe if I can get my words out this morning. So yeah, let's get straight into it. So surprise, surprise, and I'm going to do a more detailed podcast about this one in particular after this recording, which is the first digital trend for 2023 is AI and the platforms like ChatGPT. And I'm going to say, does anybody know what actual GPT stands for chat? It actually stands for Generative Pre-trained Transformer. Now, I'm not talking about the Transformers films, but I mean, I did not know the GPT stood for that. I always realized, why was it called ChatGPT and not like chat.ai or something like that, which might sound a little better. Just a little branding tips for ChatGPT out there. But it is an open AI launched in November 2022 by a San Francisco company, and it has taken everybody by storm in terms of the capabilities. These days, you can't even get onto the platform without being in a queue or being notified when you can actually use the platform. It is a bit of it, I'd say, a game changer. And I'm going to say game changer because it's innovation. And when we look back at innovation within digital marketing, we have to look at which platforms came out and disrupted the market a little. And you can go back to MySpace, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Snapchat, Pinterest, YouTube. All these platforms that are still here today is because they did something different, unique, and provide a platform. Same with the WhatsApp, just something as basic as a messenger is game changing. And then this is why the big companies like Meta end up buying Instagram and WhatsApp. It's why Microsoft bought LinkedIn. So I do see ChatGPT being picked up by a big company in the future, but that is their goal. And I think it's really interesting. I had a friend of mine, so big shout out to Ed Blakeway, who did a post about telling ChatGPT to pull out any anomalies from data. He gave a bit of a scripted code. And that is when I started really taking attention to the platform, because to me, ChatGPT was just a platform that wrote content to you. That's how it came across to me. That's how it was talked about online. Like, oh, people are writing content within a fraction of the time. They're basically asking a question to the platform. The platform's pulling out a detailed, unique response. And people are basically getting their blog content, website content, ads all written for them or descriptions done for them. Now, we have tried that. And I can tell you, it's not that great. Not to say that it's not going to get better, but I always found if you're struggling to come up with headlines or descriptions for your ads, then something like ChatGPT is a good foundation, a good starting block. If you say, I'm trying, like, how would you sell X product? It will come out with certain lines or headlines and descriptions that you might not think of that'll help you think out of the box if you're stuck. So if you're an individual, you're a small business, you're a one-man business or 2 or 3 people, and you're managing everything in-house and you're trying to save time on content writing, it's a good starting point for you to have something pre-written and then adapt it according to your needs. So from that perspective, ChatGPT is good. The element which I was really excited about is actually getting it to play with other platforms like Excel and pull out data and code and see what it would do and normalize. And it was very interesting to me because we're trying to do something similar, but it's going to take us a lot of time to develop something with our own insights platform, with the AI side of it, which is obviously insight tracking. So the first digital trend is AI, artificial intelligence, and looking into that. And it's going to continue to be talked about all year. And I guarantee you in 2024, 2025, in some way or another, agencies, businesses will be using it to some degree. Now, how is that going to impact the content writing industry? I don't know. But out of all my digital trends, that's the key one because it's a hot topic right now, and we're going to do a detailed podcast about it, and we'll go from that. The second one is, and I talk about this probably every year, which is video, but it's second on my list, which shows that it's the second highest priority if you think about it. Some stats I have here: 86% of businesses use video as a marketing tool, and 92% value it as an important part of their strategy. So if you're still not doing video right now, look, even we're doing this podcast, it's recorded, we put it online, we create snippets from it, we share it. Why? Because it's an educational tool. And we visualize our education, our impact to be able to tell people, because when businesses and clients come to us, they see these shorts, they see this posted on our TikTok, our Twitter, our Instagram, our YouTube, etc., and think, actually, that's an agency out there putting out relevant, up-to-date information, and we can trust what they're likely to say because we educate. So that's why video is important. But some of the reasons why they're using video, which I found really, really, really interesting, as some stats say, is that 74% of videos and the purpose that they're created for is explainer videos. 74% is explainer videos. I honestly say, and it's quite interesting because I'm going to talk at a high school later this week at assembly, given my experience. And explainer videos are one of the most important. And the reason I highlight me going to primary school is because the information is all there. Students shouldn't really be failing. Students should be excelling because companies like us, other agencies, other people, other specialists, other experts are out there telling you how to use platforms, training you how to use platform. The information is there in an abundance, all in consumable video content with a guide of how to do everything. So if you want to learn Google Ads and you're going to an agency and you're pitching to an agency, my advice is go on YouTube and actually look at what is Google Ads. What are the basics and fundamentals of Google Ads? It will help you so much in that process of being hired as a junior because you've gone out and made the effort to learn something, and it's free because it's all on YouTube. So it doesn't surprise me that 74% of videos created and the purpose they're created for is explainer videos. And then it's social media, 68%. No surprise there in terms of how important social media is for not just brand building, but getting awareness. And presentation videos and video testimonials were next. 50% for presentation videos, 46% for video testimonials. So you can see the purposes of videos being created are very, very important. Even video ads and sales videos and product demos and teaser videos, etc. Internal videos such as like training staff, onboarding customers, etc. Video can be used to streamline everything. It's not just about ads, but remember, if you look at the reason why it's there, videos are there for other purposes. Now, that's why we record the podcast. It falls into that explainer videos, that educational element, so that people come to us. The next element, and it's really going to be key this year. So the next digital trend is cookie-free tracking. Now, this is an interesting one because if you don't know what a cookie is that little bit of code that identifies us as we browse online. So it allows us to do elements like retargeting. So if you've ever gone on to a platform like Skyscanner, TripAdvisor, Booking.com, and you've said, I'm looking for flights from Leeds to Tenerife, and then you've then gone on and you've gone to go see the latest football results to see if the Leeds play, and you drew and you're on skysports.com, and then you see flights advertised for Leeds to Tenerife by Jet2 or Ryanair or whoever it is. That is because of cookies. Because they track you online. They track that you've been to a website, then they track you and allow us to target you wherever you go online, whether that's on your mobile, whether that's on your desktop, whether it's on your tablet, doesn't really matter. Now, an interesting stat is that Google announced that they will no longer be selling ads targeted by an individual user's browsing habits. What that means is that whereas we know what you're browsing, what websites you're visiting, and what you're doing online based on where you visit online, you might think, oh, that's scary. How did I know all this? But in order for you to access Google, in order for you to access Facebook, Instagram, all these platforms, all these games that you want, the exchange is your data for your ability to use it for free. That's why Instagram's free. That's why YouTube's free. That's why LinkedIn's free. Facebook's free. It's all free. Why? Because they want to track you as an individual, because that data is worth a lot of money to big brands that want to get their product in front of you to encourage you to buy. It's essentially how marketing is. Advertising, I say marketing, is to get people to buy things that they don't really truly want. That's the art of it. But people are going to say, well, that's not always the case. And I agree with you, because sometimes there is a need for that product and it's important to get in front of the right customer at the right time. And that's what cookies allow us to do. However, there isn't enough information about what comes after a cookie-free world. Now, I've been talking to a few suppliers, media suppliers, and we're looking at more contextual targeting. So looking at, if they're reading certain types of content or certain types of blogs. So for example, if they're traveling, and sorry to go back to the traveling example, they might be looking at things to do on a particular website in, let's say, Tenerife or in Barcelona. And it's because they're in Barcelona, traveling to Barcelona, things to do, then they might get advertised with, let's say, travel insurance. They might get advertised with flights or hotels in Barcelona, for example. It's based on the type of context. But they're taking a step further where they're looking at if there's video content, what is the video content about, and can they contextually target from that way. So it will make things harder in terms of like doing very data targeting elements. And we're a data focused company, so we're trying to understand what's next, what the next trends, and how to adapt. And a lot of 2023 for us as an agency is to help understand what happens next in terms of a cookie free world. The fourth trend for digital marketing in 2023 is augmented reality shopping. Now, this one's quite an interesting one because I haven't done anything in augmented reality yet. But here's an interesting stat. The VR and AR technologies market is expected to reach 142.4 billion by 2023 globally. I was shocked when I read that statistic. I was like, okay, we need to take this seriously. Okay, a little bit more. And I have talked about AR and VR, and a lot more is being done in virtual reality. I mean, just around the corner from our offices, there's an AR, VR like gaming place where you can go in as teams and elements. And we're seeing a real surge in people using the platform, but that also means a surge in people using it in terms of shopping online. How far have they gone? I don't know. But some brands that have trialed AR campaigns are like Miss Dior encourage shoppers to use Google Lens in store to create an AR garden of blossoming flowers. If we can get an example, we'll show it up on the YouTube afterwards. And Burberry celebrated their Olympia collection with a pop-up at Harrods where people could use their smartphone to bring a statue of Greek goddess Elpis to life. I hope I'm saying that right. It is Elpis, so forgive me. That's what I've got down here. I've written it down. So these experiences aren't just limited to stores. So what brands are really trying to use AR and virtual reality for is to create more of a brand experience in store. And you will see this with bigger brands like your Adidas's, like your Nikes of the world. And you'll have more of an experience with that brand, but it means you're more engaged. And if you're more engaged with the brand and the product, hypothetically, you're more likely to buy. So start to watch out for that when you're physically out there shopping, when you're shopping online, and how you can bring those elements into it, and look at how AR and VR is being introduced to your shopping habits over the course of 2023. The next one is targeting Gen Z in your marketing. Now, I'm not a big fan of Gen Z. Sorry, guys. I'm a millennial, so we're a different generation. We're generations apart. But it is a digital trend for 2023, which is targeting Gen Z as part of the marketing. And it's more important because you got to connect with the cool kids on the block sometimes. Now, there used to be a very effective strategy by, I think it was Nike or Adidas, where they would go into the communities where, certain types of people would find it, and they would do a poll and they ask a lot of people saying, right, out of all you, who's the most popular? And there'd be like a group of 10, 15 kids and they'd say them. And then they'd get all those 10, 15 popular kids and say, right, out of all you, who's the most popular? And they'd do that 3 times. And the benefit there is that, right, they'd find the most popular kid. He's the trendsetter, essentially. So they'd go to you, here's a lot of stuff, start wearing our stuff. And then it'd fiddle down because everyone who thought he was cool would see what he was wearing and doing that. So it's essentially taking that element from digital marketing and put it into place. Gen Z, you are known as the digital generation. And I actually feel for you because I feel like that is a benefit and a con. It is a positive and a negative for you. Like, I grew up with just 3 channels on the TV. And, it was black and white, and then we got a color TV, and you never had more than one TV in the house. So when I grew up, we didn't grow up with technology. We were introduced to technology at the age of like, when we got to high school, really, when like IT and computers came into play. It was only when we were introduced to that at year 7, and you had to do an IT class, etc. And I only say that for your benefit is that we were the early adopters of technology, our generation, millennials. But your generation was born into technology, and it's an advantage, but it's also a negative disadvantage, because I feel you're switched off from the real world. And I feel that, and I've talked about this a little bit, is you're just too disconnected in terms of reality, facts, and science, and more worried about feelings and, perspective of opinion. Is that the right way I want to say it? So I feel like your generation's really struggling to differentiate the two, because you've been brought up into a digital world. And that's why I feel for you, because I see it with my nephews. My 18-month-old nephew knows how well it comes from us as well. So we're partly to blame for that, in the sense that we're on our mobile phones all the time in front of the children, in front of my nephews and nieces. And they see it and they want to be on the mobile phone, because like, what's attracting you to that device? If I see my nephew, he knew how to use an iPad before he could actually pull a sentence together. So, because he knew how to press, this button is play for YouTube Kids, and this is the next video, and he'd be able to visualize and remember that is the screenshot of that start of that video and that video. And honestly, it was just, it's shocking. But you are going to be a crucial market right now, especially in 2023. And I say that predominantly because you're going to continue to influence marketing more than millennials. Unfortunately, we're becoming old. I say that. I'm going to turn 34 this year. God bless. I hope I can survive. I'm feeling it when I wake up in the morning and all my joints are cracking. But yes, a key trend for 2023 is basically bringing Gen Z into your marketing mix. Now, we're talking to a charity that really targets supporting veterans into home cares, and their general audience predominantly is the older generation, like 55, 65 plus, people that have grandparents or have a relational history to the military. But we've told them, you need to start moving away from that generation and start moving forward to other generations. And a key generation we highlighted was the Gen Z, because you guys jump on that stuff. An example being, if anyone doesn't know who Keith Lee is, he's a food critic. Didn't set out to be a food critic, but just started going around Las Vegas, genuine giving food opinions, whether it was good or bad. People would ask him saying elements, and he helped this one restaurant go from failing to basically extreme profitability overnight, just because his review and got 1 million views and it was all over TV. Because you guys jump on that element, and you are very, very socialist in the sense that you do support community, and I think that's great. So getting Gen Z involved, because you guys are, like I said, the coolest kids on the block at the moment. You guys are the trendsetters. So that's why we need to introduce you, and you're a trend for 2023. Number 6, and we're coming to the end of this shortly, influencer marketing. It's going to continue to boom in 2023. It's expected to grow in terms of, like, I've got some stats here. It's expected to grow by 23.4% and 15.9% in 2023 and 2024. So that as a market is going to grow. Now, I'm going to have to apologize, because I made a statement. I said that influencer marketing is going to die. And I'll put my hands up. Okay. It's not. However, I still remain the fact that the best form of influencer marketing comes down to getting an influencer that's just not on there to create bogus content, but actual content that resonates with the type of content that's being consumed. For example, Mr. Beast started off as an influencer, but he's now a brand, for example. But when I mean like influencers, I mean like someone who's got like 250,000 followers, but all they talk about, for example, is health and fitness or interior design or cooking or baking or whatever it is, or fashion, for example. That's all it is. Go to specific influencers based on your product demand and reach, and then do it. So if you're, let's say, selling technical products, you want to go to the tech experts. You want to talk about people that review tech products and how it can be used in a workplace or as individuals with like training videos, etc. That kind of influencer marketing is very, very valuable because it has a dedicated high value returning audience that will then go on to buy your product. So in that sense, yes, influencer marketing is really, really good, but you need to start introducing it into your marketing mix. And I never thought I'd be saying that in 2023. We don't really use influencer marketing as an agency much. That's not what we do. It's not a service we offer. So I can't really give too much advice on influencer marketing, except that I know a lot of social media agencies out there will do that and have that. And, partnership agencies, brand agencies will have good connections with key influencers, etc. So if you're looking at diversifying your portfolio, diversifying your digital marketing in 2023, a platform that might be useful is to go out and start profiling different types of well-known influencers. And I always say the sweet spot is between like 250,000 to 1 million, because when you go above that to people with like tens of millions of views, the price point becomes really, really high. So if you don't have much budget, it's always good to go to the influencers that have a good set but very niche, so specific kind of audience that you want to follow, and then build from that if you get results. But measurement is everything. Next, second to last, so seventh digital marketing trend for 2023 is the increased use of TikTok, but for businesses. So TikTok continues to dominate. It's become such a big player in the social media space right now, and it's not going anywhere. We are actually launching when this episode comes out on our website at bobbledigital.com, there's going to be a detailed blog about these digital trends with all the sources to the stats and everything I've talked about. So on this one in particular, I want you to go to the website because there's 9 TikTok trends for businesses 2023, a link which I'm going to post on there, and we'll post it in the YouTube video description as well for you to have. But a key element now, one thing I'm just going to read out about that is one of the things that we're going to see from TikTok next year is the simplicity around business tools. They've already been making waves in improving the usability for businesses around their ads dashboard. I've been looking at some of the new targeting options they've launched for their ads, which are brilliant. And that's from Alison Battersby, a social media consultant with Avocado Social. Now, we're trialing a little bit of TikTok here and there, in particular with our beauty brands. It's a bit of a hit and a miss right now. I see it more as a brand building tool, engagement tool. However, I've had feedback from other experts in the industry, from other agencies, that I've seen really, really good ROI from it from a performance perspective. Now, then we trialed it with one client, which was a facial cream, but they only had one product. And I feel that because they only had one core product and not a range of products, that's why they didn't get the traction they wanted. And we told them to go into influencer marketing, etc., and try different forms. But I do see TikTok being a big part of our platform that we use in 2023 as an agency, especially as a business, as we use it, but also selling it to our clients as a platform to generate brand awareness, but also in the e-commerce place, in particular, selling products and services. And finally, my 8th digital marketing trend for 2023. I was going to do 10, but I could only think of 8. This one is voice search. So if you believe this, I would say the stats here are 1 in 4 people use voice search on their mobile device. 1 in 4 on average. So it's becoming more and more popular, specifically from an SEO perspective. Experts predict by 2024, the number of digital voice assistants in use will reach 8.4 billion. In other words, there will be more voice assistants being used than there are people in the world. I found that an amazing stat. Moreover, by 2025, the transaction value of purchases made through these devices is expected to reach $164 billion. So no matter who your favorite AI friend is, whether it's Siri, Alexa, Google Assistant, you can expect them to stick around. They're not going anywhere. They're integrated into households and other elements. So if you are out there and you're not adapting voice search into it, and a lot of that comes down to make sure your Google My Business is in place, but make sure that you're thinking about voice search because it's becoming very, very clear. I mentioned this in my trends for 2022. The reason I mention it in my trends for 2023 is because I see it playing a bigger part. And as part of our SEO strategy, we see it playing a really, really key tool from an SEO perspective. Because remember, if you've got a mobile device and you say, hey, I'm not going to say the word because my phone will go off. But hey, Apple's AI, we'll call it. Find me local restaurants that sell burgers, and you want to be that number one recommendation, localized, and you want to be optimize your website, your Google My Business, and everything for that specific element. And just look at Amazon and Alexa in terms of what they're doing in terms of adding products to carts and getting it sent to your house, and just saying, Alexa, add this to my grocery list, or add this to my shopping list. Josh will laugh because every time we go play poker at his night, we always add random funny things to his Alexa. Sorry, Josh. And it's never going to stop. And it kind of ruins his kind of like search and request element in terms of his algorithm. It's absolutely hilarious. So if you're going to have a bit of fun with Alexa, actually go ahead and have it. But it's something that you need to really take into consideration, specifically from an SEO element. And they are my top digital trends for 2023. I've kind of rattled through it because we only really record for 20-25 minutes. The detail of all these digital trends are in a blog that's going to launch when this episode launches. So if you're listening to this episode, do go to www.bobbledigital.com/blogs. There will be my detailed written with links and sources of everything I've discussed and much, much more. There's obviously so much I can go through in a podcast, but in the written content, everything will be there. So I want to thank everybody for listening. I hope you found those digital trends for 2023 really, really insightful. And we look forward to joining us on our next episode, where we have a guest, Gary King from Tendo, which I'm really excited to have. And as always, don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, and we'll catch you on our next episode. Thank you very much.